welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into a really fascinating stack of source material that you've shared with us. And let me tell you, right off the bat, it threw us a bit of a curveball.
Oh, yeah. What happened?
Well, I was looking through the titles, and one really jumped out. Hazrat Muhammad, SAW Kikari Zindagi.
Okay, sounds like maybe a biography or teaching.
Exactly what I thought, but then I opened it up, and the content, it was a super detailed rental agreement.
A rental agreement? Seriously?
Yeah, for an apartment at like 123 Main Street. It was definitely not what I expected.
Yeah.
A curious way to kick things off.
It's moments like that, though, that are actually kind of valuable. They're like a little mental warm-up for critical thinking.
How so?
Well, that initial confusion, right? The title saying one thing, the content another. It forces you to look past the label. It's a reminder that you've got to actually check the details, dig into the substance, which is crucial for any deep dive, really, and maybe even for leadership, as we'll see.
That makes sense. So, okay, our mission today isn't just to, have a chuckle about that rental agreement, but to use it as a starting point for that kind of thinking. Because the other stuff you said, it really gives us a deep, coherent look at leadership, especially from an Islamic perspective.
Right. That first document is the outlier, the warm-up exercise in looking closely.
So let's quickly unpack that first one, just for context. The Hazrat Muhammad SAW Kipyari Zindagi document. Despite the beautiful title, the content was all business, like literally.
Okay, so what did it detail?
It laid out the specific monthly rent amount, the exact due date, how much the security deposit was, the length of the lease.
Your real nuts and bolts.
Totally. It even got into rules about guests, about pets, who's responsible for repairs and maintenance. And there was even a clause about the landlords being able to show the apartment near the end of the lease. Standard stuff.
And this is actually a great aha moment for you, our listener, right at the start. It just underscores how important content verification is, especially now with so much digital information floating around.
Yeah, good point.
You can find things online where the title just doesn't line up with what's inside. So this reinforces that key idea.
I see.
And always look past the label, see what's actually there. It's a core skill.
It really is. And, thinking about it, even the clarity needed in a rental agreement, setting out terms, responsibilities. It sort of echoes a basic principle of good leadership, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The need for clear expectations, clear communication, guiding people effectively.
That's a really interesting connection, like setting the terms of engagement in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So building on that idea of looking closely and needing clear terms, let's pivot. Let's get into the main topic here, because the other sources you gave us offer this really rich exploration of leadership.
Yeah, let's do it. It's quite a shift from rental clauses to leadership philosophy, but there's a link there, like you said. Clear terms, clear pathways. It applies in both.
Okay, so where we really start to dig in is with an academic paper. It's titled Islamic Perspective of Leadership, a role model for today's CEOs. It's from the Journal of Islamic Thought and Civilization, and the author is Mohammed Yusuf Jamil.
Right, and what's really insightful here is how it defines leadership. It goes beyond just, managing a business or leading an army or a community group.
It adds another layer.
Yeah, critically, it brings in a spiritual viewpoint. It emphasizes that fundamentally to lead means to show the pathway. The whole point is guiding people forward with a vision towards shared goals. It makes you think, how often do we frame modern leadership in terms of pathfinding?
That's a great question. And the paper itself, its methodology seems pretty solid. It's a literature survey. Meaning it didn't just invent ideas. It reviewed existing studies and texts really thoroughly. It looked for common principles, focusing specifically on the leadership qualities of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his companions, the Sahaba.
Okay, so it's drawing on established knowledge and historical example.
Exactly. And through that survey, the paper identifies what it calls these universal, inevitable characteristics for any effective leader.
Universal characteristics. Okay,
Yeah.
like what?
Well, think about things like self-confidence, being trustworthy, having strong communication skills.
Essentials, really.
Right. But also compassion, hopefulness, being promising, like keeping your word and farsightedness, having vision.
These sound less like just management techniques and more like core character traits.
They are. And the list goes on. Passion, or maybe truthfulness, humility, having a high emotional quotient.
EQ, yeah. Understanding people, understanding yourself. Crucial.
Definitely. And also being a good problem solver, knowing how to delegate authority effectively, appraising people fairly, training them, and thinking about succession management, planning for the future.
Wow, that's a comprehensive list.
It is. And what the paper does so well is it connects these characteristics to examples from the Quran, from the life of the Prophet. And then, interestingly, it even draws parallels with successful modern business empires. It's trying to build a practical framework for today's leaders, like CEOs.
So it's bridging historical wisdom with contemporary needs. Makes sense.
Okay, now let's shift gears slightly to the other major source you provided. This one's a book. It's called Rasuli Ramat Hiki Leadership, 23 Leadership Kubian, which translates from Urdu, published just last year, 2023, in the UK. The author is Muhammad Imdad Hussein Pirzada.
And what's the approach here? Similar to the paper?
Similar focus on the Prophet's leadership, peace be upon him, but maybe a slightly different angle. It really aims to blend that traditional Islamic perspective with very contemporary leadership skills.
Bridging the gap again.
Exactly. It feels like it's trying to make those historical lessons immediately relevant for today.
Okay. And the 23 kubiyan, the 23 qualities, I assume it goes into detail on those.
Oh, absolutely. The book examines 23 specific leadership qualities demonstrated by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And it argues that these aren't just historical points of interest. They're necessary qualities for leaders right now, in our time.
That's a strong claim. Can you give us a few examples? What kinds of qualities are we talking about? Ones that really stand out as practical today.
Sure. Well, think about integrity. Foundational, right? Or good manners. Not just politeness, but genuine respect in interaction.
Builds trust.
Exactly. Then there's leading by example. Huge. People watch what you do, not just what you say.
Actions speak louder.
Also, compassion. The paper mentioned it too. It's presented not as softness, but as a strength that builds loyalty and connection.
Empathy and leadership. Very important.
Definitely. And communication, of course, being clear, being understood. Justice and equality, making sure things are fair for everyone. That's critical for any group's health.
Keeps things stable, prevents resentment.
Right. And responsibility and accountability. Taking ownership. And one that really stands out, also mentioned in the paper, is leadership succession. Thinking beyond your own tenure.
Planning for continuity. That shows real foresight. These aren't just like ancient virtues locked in the past. They feel incredibly relevant.
That seems to be the whole point of the book. It aims to provide practical guidance. It's written in a way that's meant to be accessible, not just for scholars, but for regular readers too.
But still well-grounded.
Oh, yeah. It makes a point of using authentic referencing from Sirah, the biographical accounts, and Hadith, the Prophet's sayings and traditions. So it's practical, but it's also rooted in solid sources.
That balance is key. And is there like a central message or quote that captures the essence?
There's a really powerful quote included, recorded in Al-Bukhari, a major collection of Hadith. It's attributed to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Beware, each person from amongst you is a supervisor, a leader, and each person from amongst you will be questioned about those under his or her supervision.
Wow. That really broadens the definition of leadership, doesn't it? It's not just for CEOs or presidents. It's universal responsibility.
Exactly. It implies leadership exists at many levels, in many spheres of life. So, okay, we've gone from this surprising rental agreement detour.
Which taught us about looking closely.
Right, to these really deep insights into leadership from the academic paper and this book focusing on the 23 qualities. What's the big takeaway here for you, the listener? How does this all connect?
Well, I think when you put it all together, what emerges is this really quite holistic model for leadership. You've got the academic framework identifying these sort of universal characteristics, and then the book detailing these very practical, actionable qualities rooted in historical example.
And it feels relevant beyond just a religious context.
Absolutely. While the sources draw from an Islamic perspective, the core principles, integrity, compassion, clear communication, responsibility, vision, service, these are arguably universal elements of effective and ethical leadership. So this deep dive gives you a shortcut, really, a way to quickly get informed about this rich perspective on leadership, balancing these timeless principles with concrete characteristics.
Yeah, it's a journey from, reading the fine print on a lease.
Yes.
To understanding these profound lessons about guiding and serving others. It shows how insights can pop up anywhere, really.
It really does. And maybe that leaves you, our listener, with something to think about.
Oh, what's that?
Well, consider that idea from the Hadith. Each person is a supervisor. What if you really embrace that in your own life? How might focusing on qualities like integrity, like compassion, like leading by example, maybe even thinking about succession in your own responsibilities, how might that change your daily interactions, your goals, whether that's at home, in your community, or, at work?
That's a powerful thought to end on. Something to definitely mull over.